Calvin and Hobbes is one of the most famous comic strips of all time. The comic strip is cute, wholesome, and there's something in it for everyone. The two main characters of the strip are Calvin, a 6-year-old boy, and Hobbes, an anthropomorphic tiger who only Calvin can see. To other people, Hobbes looks like a stuffed animal. This has led to a debate topic amongst readers, and is without a doubt the most famous thing about Calvin and Hobbes. Is Hobbes real, or is he just a figment of Calvin's imagination? A lot of you are probably thinking that it should be easy to determine this, but let me tell you, it isn't. For a long time, I originally thought that Hobbes was a real tiger who had the ability to turn into a stuffed animal at will, similar to the toys in Toy Story. I thought that, for whatever reason, Hobbes was only comfortable with Calvin knowing he was a real tiger. But there are times where Calvin and another person are looking at Hobbes at the same time, and Calvin sees him as a real tiger while the other person doesn't. This means that Hobbes can be in both forms at once, and only appear as a real tiger to Calvin. There's another comic strip where Calvin takes photos of Hobbes, and to him, the photos look like a real tiger, but when he shows the photo to his dad, the photos appear to him in his doll form. Another thing that's confusing is the fact that Calvin on rare occasions can be seen carrying Hobbes in his doll form. Why doesn't Calvin see him as a tiger in these scenarios? The most obvious explanation for this is, Hobbes is imaginary, he isn't real, and he's on Calvin's head. This explanation makes a lot of sense because Calvin has a very big imagination, likely has ADHD, is bullied, and has no friends, so it's understandable why he would have an imaginary friend. That's the conclusion I would come to if there wasn't contradictory information. There's a comic strip where Hobbes is in a bathtub, covered in soap, and Calvin's mom comes into the bathroom and mistakes Hobbes for Calvin's dad. If Hobbes is a part of Calvin's imagination, then how did Calvin's mom see him? There's also a comic strip where Calvin is tied to a chair, and he claims that Hobbes did it. His dad finds him and unties him. If Hobbes isn't real, who tied him to the chair? You can't tie yourself to a chair, that's just impossible. Even his dad is confused. Also, there's a long-running gag in the strip where Calvin opens the door after coming home from school, and Hobbes tackles him, leaving him with actual wounds that other people can see. How did he get these wounds if Hobbes isn't real? Does Calvin self-harm and pretend Hobbes did it? I don't want to think about that. Hobbes also walks Calvin to the bus stop often. When Calvin gets on a bus, how does Hobbes return home? Bill Watterson, the creator of the comic strip, has already given his own answer to the debate of whether or not Hobbes is real. He says that there is no answer to the question. Bill Watterson intentionally puts contradictory elements about Hobbes' reality into the comic strips in order for there to be no answer. If there was a clear answer, it would ruin a lot of the fun of the comic strip. You're not supposed to know if Hobbes is real or fake. That's the whole point. If Bill Watterson gave an answer, then that just takes the fun out of the question. Calvin and Hobbes is supposed to raise this exact question.